Going on, everyone? Yep, Tommy yesterday wasn't great, but it's not about one day. Take it a week at a time, and I'm certainly not going to complain about the week overall. And not necessarily part two. When the system went down earlier, it wasn't streaming for a couple of minutes, but it was still streaming on my end, and that's when I realized when the chat went down, something had happened, and I thought it was my internet. Come to find out, it was Google Chrome, which is the only way that I can stream with the software that I have through YouTube. Google Chrome went down. I could pull up any other form of internet, but you try to go to Google Chrome, it was down, and it was down for over an hour. So I finally just had to move on, do some other things, and come back at it. So we'll try to knock out a few minutes here as I'm getting these plays done, and then we'll get them posted up and get the day finished out. We'll give a couple minutes to let everybody pile in. We'll get a few things done, make it short and sweet. And get all of our wagers in. Which I'm working on the last few games as we speak, now that I've got morning shoot-around reports that I requested and so on. Finally narrowed it down to all the selections I would be choosing from and crossing the games off that I knew I would have no action in. Earlier today, I locked in Delaware State at minus 18. In a lot of places, it's already dropped to 17.5. Got a little reverse line movement going on there because there's still more money on Delaware than there is Delaware State, especially regarding William Hill. William Hill's taken 80% of their bets on Delaware today. Because John Gruden sucks. He's the most overpaid coach I think I've ever seen. Even if Oakland was a bad team, even if Oakland was the type of team that shouldn't have won the game, which they were, they should have done it yesterday for those fans in Oakland, pulled out every trick play, every stop, just to leave with something to celebrate. So now what do you remember? Not only does your franchise turn your back on the city, but you leave by getting beat by a little putz like Gardner Minshew. He's a putz. Was I? Danny, was I on a baseball rant? If I was, tell me what it was and I'll pick up where I left off. If you can get it at 17, I like it. I've read over the practice reports. I've looked at all the game reports going back 4 games for each, my power ratings, looking at the way Delaware. I think that a lot of people are wanting to take the points, not only because it's an in-state rivalry. They're right down the street from each other, so it's not like there's a massive home court advantage. Plus, I think that a lot of people are thinking that the game against Villanova is going to set Delaware back due to, whether it be being tired or whatever you want to say. I think that the game with Villanova did nothing but prepare them even more to where you go out there and you keep it within double digits to the best ball-moving team in basketball, in Villanova, in my opinion. And now you get to go home and, you didn't really have to travel. You were in Newark, New Jersey. So you hop on a short bus ride, you go back home, you get to play your in-state rival, who's one of the 5 worst teams in all of D1 out of 353 teams. it should be a walk in the park. I've still got my power ratings at 21 and a half, 22, even in some spots 23 if you really want to put in a luck factor. Oh, she was asking why the Dodgers had not made any big moves. And I was saying that I think the reason is because the Dodgers don't have to make any big free agency moves. If you look at two teams that really didn't have to make moves, it was the Dodgers and the Astros. Now, the problem is you had Garrett Cole going into free agency. You're probably going to have Verlander for the remainder of his career unless after his contract in Houston is up, if he's still throwing with a lot of it, velocity, he may end up signing one of those Cole Hamill type 1-year deals to go somewhere like New York, Philly, maybe even LA, just to try to go put one more ring on his finger. They should have won a ring this year, and they didn't. But with Cole leaving and all the fines that the Astros are getting ready to take on, they knew that they could not go out there and sign any huge free agent. So that's one thing. With LA, they're a shoe-in for the NL West again without even trying. Now you take, Ryu and say, well, potentially the best ERA in baseball other than DeGrom. But if you really want to look at the metrics of it, Ryu had the best season. Problem is, he's a ground ball machine. He's not a power pitcher. That's the reason I believe the Dodgers haven't been able to seal the deal in a World Series. They have every key piece to get there. But when it comes down to the playoffs, you don't need ground ball machines. You need power pitchers that can build strikeouts versus just getting outs. Somebody that can command that bump. And Ryu's just not that guy. Ryu would fit perfectly into a system like the Braves, like the Phillies, the Mets. He would be better NL East, certainly in the National League. Or, he could go to the American League. If he went to the American League, I think they need to put him out there with Ohtani and see what he could do as a starter. And if it didn't work out, he'd be a hell of a middle reliever. Dana, no, I asked for a more detailed report from somebody that works there. There's no timeline as to when he's returning. From what I gathered, it's probably not going to be this season, but I think until further testing's done, they won't actually make that statement or assume that probably until the end of the week. Yo, what's up, Devin? Keith, I like tonight's card. I wish that there weren't so many chalky lines, but the games that I've narrowed down, there's a couple of chalky lines that are validated. And to be honest with you, they're a little soft. So, I don't mind laying chalk and laying big numbers when it's validated. I don't like doing it just because it's a top 25 team versus a nobody. Because a nobody is a lot more dangerous than any top 25 team ever will be. If I had to pick between Mercer and NC Wilmington, which I'm not going to have any action on that game, I'd take Wilmington at home. But I'd take them on a money line play instead of laying 1.5 because I can lay $1.20 and get them on a pick 'em. So that's what I do at home. As far as Jacksonville State, Evansville's the better team. Truth be told, I think that they've got a little bit better presence under the rim with Jacksonville State. I think home court will mean a little bit. I think 4 is a little bit too much. So if forced to pick, I'd probably take the 4 points with Jacksonville State. But I don't love either game. Not enough to have my money on it. I'm actually working on the NBA as we speak now. I have one game locked in, working on a potential second in the NBA. The game that I think that I'm interested in watching tonight, NBA wise, if I actually get to sit down and watch any, would be Dallas and Milwaukee. And I'm excited to see LeBron and Giannis go head to head later this week. I think that's going to be. The problem is, it's not like it used to be when you had Magic versus Jordan or Bird versus Jordan. This is all going to be for show. I'll lay it off, Walter. Nothing on Charlotte. They ain't gonna get the death penalty. They'll probably get some draft penalties. They'll probably get some trade penalties. It's gonna penalize them in how their overall team building goes over the next season or two, and they'll be heavily penalized. So financially, it's gonna hurt a little bit. But they're not gonna take the World Series from them or anything. If they did, they'd flat out ruin baseball. Yeah, Luka's not playing, but I'm not talking about. That's why I said Giannis and LeBron. I'm interested to see how Dallas does because Dallas is playing good as a team. It's not just Luka playing. Um, I do think Milwaukee is a better team. I certainly think they have a massive home court advantage in this one. I'm just interested to see how Dallas does without the person that's been leading their team. I'm excited to see what Porzingis can do without the presence of kind of his right hand man. What's going on, Corey? Yeah, just let me know whenever you're ready, man. We can take care of you, get you on a package, whatever you're interested in, something short term to start, let you kind of see how it works and if it's a good fit for you. And then once we show you what we're all about and how it works and the money that you can make as long as you follow the system, we'll get you on something long term. Most of the guys in this chat are all long term customers, and they can attest to whatever questions you want to ask. Give me 1 second, guys. Look at something real quick here. I am all but about wrapped up on today's game so I can get them posted and get that out of the way. I've had to really dig deep into these lines today because some of them just don't make sense. Opening lines were way off today. So it's made me second guess a lot of stuff and go back and double take, triple take, quadruple take just to make sure that I'm not missing something obvious here. But I think we are about locked in. I've got two more games I need to break down and go over another NHL game. I have to see if I've even got the skate around report from this morning yet before I can make that decision. But I believe I've got my top play locked in. As soon as I get this email back, There is a game that I absolutely love their presence in the paint, and I think that it's just a complete mismatch. And I believe we're getting a gift with the spread. But as soon as I can get one question answered regarding one player, that'll let me know whether or not I'm going to go ahead and lock it in as the top play, wager it, and get it out to you guys, or to the paying customers. Danny, yeah, $99. Shit. I'd have Patrick quit on me. And I wouldn't blame him if I did something like that. That'd be ridiculous. I mean, hell, I'm the one that's been telling him that the race card should be $100 every Sunday. But he's like me. He'd rather be lower price, take care of people, get more people to get on so you can help more people at once. The more expensive you are, the more reserved people are to try you to see if you're worth it. Keith, I'm excited for it. Like I said, that's one of the things that I guess what I love most about the NASCAR stuff is that I don't have to do any work for it. I don't have to break anything down. All I have to do is well, obviously because he works for me in that sense. But other than that, I mean, I just wait for the information, I bet it, and move on. I don't even watch it. Funny, really. Don't know what that means. Walford Terriers. They can give those away at the Goodwill. God, I can't quit yawning. I'm telling you, I finished that antibiotic yesterday, and ever since then, like I feel better since I didn't have to take it, but I just feel blah. And I might be slightly over caffeinated. Any thoughts on Washington and Detroit in the NBA game? That's actually one of the games that I thought was a little more intriguing for tonight with the way Derrick Rose has been playing. And I love Derrick Rose. I'm so happy he found a team that was willing to let him go out there and just be who he is, sink or swim. And so I think that it's been good for him. I really think that that's overshadowed the position that Blake Griffin holds within the team. Do I think 4.5 was a little high considering that Washington hasn't been the worst team on the road when it comes to teams that they match up size-wise with? I just don't trust Washington. I don't trust them, their coaching staff. I don't trust their tempo of play, which changes like the wind. The problem is Detroit's not much more reliable. So this could be one of those games where Detroit goes in, jumps out to a 20-point lead, and then ends up losing in overtime. But I got to believe that Detroit truthfully is a 5-point better team. At least they're playing like it. Chase, is that a good Wofford team? Wofford's been good for a while, man. It's like Furman. The SoCon's really coming up. And Wofford is one of Wofford and Furman both are very smart shooting teams. Wofford's got really, really talented shooters. Both of them are very well coached. They understand what not being stingy with the ball means. And I just think that it's benefited them. And you could see over the last 5 years what Wofford and Furman both have been able to do to build the programs up to be where they're not just overlooked when they have to, play a top-ranked team like a North Carolina or a Duke or in Auburn, somebody like that. But, I mean, it's like you look now, it's like what Furman played what was it, Auburn a few weeks back, and I was telling you guys, I said I think Auburn's going to overlook this team, and Furman's going to make a game of it. It was a good game to watch. Furman and Wofford both are very good teams. Obviously, I'm a Furman supporter, not a Wofford supporter, but I have a lot of admiration for what they've done with that program and the way they keep building it. And truth be told, I see that coach or Furman's coach taking the Clemson job within the next year. Furman maybe not so much, just because I think he really likes the position that he's in, and I can't blame him. Beautiful campus, beautiful area, decent pay for the position that he's in at such a small school athletically. But I think that he's going to go out there and break those guys into a tournament berth, and until he does, I don't think he wants to leave. Wofford, because of the marquee wins that they've had over the last 2 years against North Carolina, and the fact that Wofford built that brand new facility, they got North Carolina to come down there. Roy Williams agreed to it, which shows you what kind of guy he is to say, absolutely, I want you to be nationally televised. I want your program to build. You guys deserve it, which is amazing. I think that he's going to take a more high-level job, and I think that even though I don't think he would want the Clemson job, I don't think that he wants that much baggage, but it's an ACC job. So I really think that just because of that alone, it would be worth taking that next step. Turn Clemson back into a tournament berth team, and then boom, sky's the limit for you coaching-wise. Because right now, it'd be easier to get Wofford or Furman into a tournament berth than it would, Clemson, or truth be told, I think they've got a better shot than Pitt. And Pitt's not a terrible team. Hold on one second. I'm going to cut a light on. I used to live less than a mile from that campus. I could see the bell tower from my backyard. So I'm very, very, very familiar with Furman and all of their athletics. Actually did some work with their baseball team. I need this skate around report so I can finish up NHL too. He's going to be lucky to get a coaching job. Who wears a fucking plaid suit? Tommy, give it a little bit more. It might drop to 7.5, and you could buy it down to a touchdown. There's big money right now coming in on against the Saints. They're coming in on Indianapolis. But I would be weary to think otherwise, other than it just trying to get the line to a certain number so they can hammer the other side. I can tell you right now, nobody has faith in Indy right now the way they've been playing versus going up against Drew Brees in prime time. In the Dome, too. What's up, Carlos? That's one of those games that I've just been toying with all day. And you guys know me. I'm not a big Monday Night Football guy. I rarely play Monday Night Football. I think I played 4 of them all year. And I think one of those was just a lean. But I like playing Drew Brees when the time's right because he is very reliable. I just don't know that tonight is that night. But if you are on a package, you will soon find out. All right. There's actually some 17s out there. It could. I don't think it'll drop much more. I think that, I mean, because it's reverse line movement at this point. There's still a lot more money on Delaware than there is Delaware State. There was some big bets that came in on Delaware State, but there was simultaneously even bigger bets come back in on Delaware. So it was to move the line to a certain position. Josh Gordon suspended now again. Do you think this affects the Seahawks down the stretch? It could, but again, I think this is going to decide where MVP lies. Lamar's going to get a chance to get a little rest. He deserves it. They're going to postseason. Patriots locked up their postseason berth. Looks like the Bills are going to be going to postseason. It looks like Dallas is going to be going. But it's really going to depend. I think right now, if him being out of it, if Josh Gordon being out of the mix due to suspension, it will lower the value of the Seahawks. If Russell Wilson continues to make that team win, unanimous MVP. So I think that yes, I think it can affect them. I think that it's doing nothing but adding fuel to Russell Wilson's fire. So I think that it's actually kind of doing the opposite. It's like irreversibly benefiting the Seahawks from our standpoint, from an investment standpoint. It's hurting them when you look at the face of it. But when you peel back the layers, this may be a blessing in disguise. And we get a ton of value with maybe small lines, maybe being able to take money line with an active dog. Because Seattle's an active dog as long as Wilson's on the field. Doesn't matter who they're playing, where they're playing at, and how good the other team is. You get Russell Wilson, if he's on the field and he's healthy, Seattle's an active dog. And look, they've got a Hall of Fame coach standing on the sideline just adding to it in Pete Carroll. Kind of jumping ahead. How bad is Baylor going to beat Bulldogs' asses? I don't think they beat them. I think Georgia wins. I'm not impressed with Baylor. I'm impressed with what Baylor's been able to do in certain situations, but let's face it, guys. They're still in the Big 12. And the Big 12's not competitive. Oklahoma, okay. TCU, we'll give them a little credit. Kansas, definitely coming along with a great coach in Les Miles. But let's face it, the Big 12 sucks. The Big 12 is a few steps away from being the ACC in football. Because it's like you have Oklahoma every year and you have nothing. Just like ACC, you have Clemson, you have nothing. Every handful of years you sneak Florida State into that. But so for them to go out there and be like, oh, they're playing for a Big 12 championship, who cares? That's like the ACC championship. It's like, oh, we're the best in the Big 12, or you're the best in the ACC. Great. It's like being the smartest kid in the retard class. You're still an idiot. That's just the way I feel. You're going up against Kirby Smart. You're going up against a very, very, very good coaching core. And you're going up against a very accurate quarterback. Jacob Fromm is a fantastic QB. Problem are his weapons, which he has none. They're going to have to step up. Georgia has New England syndrome this year. A great quarterback, a couple of good backs, and a fantastic coaching staff, but no weapons. If New England had weapons, they'd be the best team in the league right now, hands down. If Georgia had weapons, they would probably be playing for a national championship this year and probably be the favorite to win it. No, I think they'll play. I think they'll play. Especially the seniors, because let me tell you something. This is their last chance to build that draft stock up a little bit for the ones that have to leave and are going to declare a draft because, they've run out their eligibility or because they don't want to come back and go for another year, whatever the case may be. There's a cinematic effect to it. You're going out there and playing a team that was battling for a playoff spot, battling for a conference championship. And let's face it, they were winning. They were beating a very good Oklahoma team. So I think that the fact that they are playing a good team, one of the more respected teams in college football from a theatrical standpoint, I think that this, having a big game can up that draft stock a little bit, and that be the last thing a lot of these scouts remember, and it could help, where they land in the draft, especially defensively. I believe Georgia's going to win this game, and I think that everybody's going to go, whoa, where's this Georgia team been? Keep in mind the games they won, guys. And all my clients on here, Walter, Keith, you guys especially, the ones that have been with me for as long as you have, some of you guys even questioned me on why I was taking Georgia in certain situations this year, like against Florida. Georgia's a good team. They're just confused right now. They're just not gelling together, and they've got their weapons have to come out of their shell, and they've got to take the leadership role. Do I have any futures pending? Not at the moment, no. Every year, all of my MLB clients or 1 year All Access clients get my predictions as far as who I think is going to win the World Series and each division prior to the season. Now, usually once we get a couple of days into the season, I will announce them publicly. But, I usually will release a small package like that, and I always do it before football season starts. Like this year, we had a bunch of them. Our biggest future bet was a season win total on the Raiders over 5.5 wins. So, like North Carolina over their win total was an easy win. It was a decent year this year on futures. But I'm very, very peculiar. I mean, like I studied for 4.5 months to put together my futures package for football. And it was a big one. What was it, Walter? $30? And you got... Hold on. I'll pull up how many bets it was. It was a lot. For $30 for sure. $13 bets for $30. And we've still got, some of them are not pending. Some of them are depending on bowl games. But we've already cashed the most important one. Like our top play was Raiders over 5.5 wins at -135. Washington Redskins under 6 wins. New Orleans over 10.5 wins. North Carolina over 5 wins. Alabama over 11 wins. And guys, this includes, Every game that they play this season. As long as you bet it right. Maryland over 3.5. We did lose the Clemson one because I really felt like they were going to lose at least one regular season game, which they didn't. Hats off to them. Michigan over 10. Oregon over 9. Certainly was not too shabby. Danny. Let's not talk about getting butt hurt now. Now, I'm not saying you specifically. You know you're my dude. But you are a part of the most butthurt fan base there ever was. I watched what few people were in Little John Coliseum last night completely walk out with 3 minutes left because guess what? They were butthurt. And this is basketball. And then they started chanting about football records during a basketball game. That's butthurt. And then Clemson and their coach refused to shake hands, told the refs no, make Carolina leave the court. And guess what? They did. Frank Martin said, all right, guys, they're not going to shake our hand. Let's leave. And you know why? When asked about it, the answer, and this was for the Tiger Daily or whatever, and I'm sure this won't get posted, but per a reporter that I know very, very well who was in the room, and let me tell you something, he's not only a Clemson alum, he's a diehard lifelong fan. His entire family went there, and now he does a lot of journalism and communications for the university. He was in the room after the game, and they asked, well, why would you not shake hands? He said, oh, because all of the South Carolina fans were chanting Gamecocks back and forth. We didn't want to egg them on. Give me a break. You had like 3 guys in the place that started chanting. Everybody that heard it was just, they got on their hillbilly high horse and started losing their mind because they started chanting Gamecocks. We've had to listen to Clemson fans practice for their spelling test all game long. You know, they can spell it, but they can't pronounce it. Anyway, don't make me get on a rant. I don't like Georgia either. I am very anti-Georgia. But I really do like Kirby Smart. I always like Mark Richt. And I'm impressed with the program that they've built. And I think that they are a better team than Baylor. I like Frank Martin, too. I feel like he gets just a little bit too into it. Like, sometimes it's just like, all right, Frank, calm down a little bit. Like, he's going to have a stroke on the court. For sure. That's going to be the way Frank Martin dies. And the thing is, it'll be a game that they win by 40 against North Carolina A&T or something. And they'll be up by 40, and he'll be mad about that, and he'll end up croaking. What's up, Ron? Oh, I know you're not a homer. Yeah, but at least I'll give it to Muschamp. At least he gets pissed off about stuff that's, it's like, Will Muschamp's the type of guy to get pissed off when you score a touchdown, but it's like he knows when it was lucky. They drew up a play, they tried to run it, they didn't execute it properly. Play failed, maybe they score. Luck of the draw. He's pissed. I understand that. Nick Saban does it. Bill Belichick does it. Pete Carroll does it. Urban Meyer does it. Khaki Pants McGee over at Michigan, Mr. Harbaugh, he does it. When you don't execute something properly, you get pissed off, whether you got lucky or not. Frank Martin just gets pissed off to get pissed off. It's almost like he can't help it. No doubt. Like, I'm telling you, I could feel the heat coming off of his face last night. I mean, we were only sitting 6 rows back. I mean, you could feel it coming off of him. Was that Kenny Larkin? Or Barry Larkin? Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that tonight. He's wearing cowboy boots. I thought that's who it looked like. Damn, he ages well. Which I gotta say this: black don't crack, but he ages very well. All right, let's see. Looks like I just received an email. I'll tell you what, before I read this, let's do a little contest. Who wants to do a little. Okay, out of everybody in this room, I know a lot of you are long term clients. Everybody knows that I charge $100 for a week of service. If I told you I'd give you a way to get 7 days for $50, would you be interested? Yes or no? Simple yes or no. Would you be interested? All right, so let's do this. Oh, well, I guess no one's interested in a $50 week then. Well, okay. Never mind. We'll be good. We'll let the $99 ones keep rolling in for the day. Because what I would like to do, maybe do a little trivia. Yeah, what's up, Bill? Anybody in the Virginia area needing insurance, call Bill Mater at the Mater Insurance Agency. He's in the live chat. You can look up his website. Hit him up on social media. He will save you time and money. Bill, I think you just need to pay me to... There you go. Bill Mater Insurance Agency needs to be the first advertiser for the new launch of the podcast this week. Oh, did I say that out loud? It is relaunching. It is early. Yes, it is the off season, but we're going to kickstart it, go through the rest of the off season. Yeah, you need it, Virginia. It's West Virginia. You don't need it. Don't need health insurance. Don't have dental insurance. Welcome to West Virginia. But he's not in West Virginia. Oh, and we will. We will. Let's do this. Let's do a little bit of trivia or something. And we can see who can get it right. Maybe I'll choose a handful of people, the first ones to get it right. And I'll toss you a coupon code that will allow you to get a week of service for 50% off. So you'll get it for 50 instead of 100. If you guys are down with doing that, let me know and we'll do it real quick, and then we'll do a free play. And then we'll call it a day. Okay, we're good. We are good. All right, so let's go. Let's do a little trivia. Give me just a second. I finished sending this real fast, like. Oh, your mother's ass. Okay, so. Let's do something good for trivia. I would say baseball, but it's not baseball season, so we'll do something different. We'll do something football related. How about that? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it, tell everyone to go, and I'm going to choose the first 3 people to get it right. Those are the people that are going to be able to get 50% off a week package. So let's see here. All right, in honor of Monday Night Football and in honor of one of the teams playing and one of the players on the field, I'm going to ask you what their total career rushing yards are. That's for their career. Not this season, not last season, everything. From the start of their career to right now, the first 3 people to accurately tell me. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do the first 5 people to accurately tell me the number that I'm getting ready to ask. You can get a week of service for half price. I'll tell you how to get it. I want to know the total career rushing yards. Rushing yards. Career. Drew Brees, the first 5 people to accurately give it to me, go. And I will announce them as they come in. You get it right, I'll tell you you're good to go. When I tell everyone to stop, stop. Tommy, you're good. Stop. Danny, no. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. All right, everyone stop. Yes. Career, Danny. All right. The total of 758 yards is how much Drew Brees has rushed for in his career. Okay? Tommy Grant was the first one to get it. Walter was the second. Matt was the third. Corey L. was the fourth. And Dana was the fifth. So, all five of you can get a week for half price. Now, Walter, you don't need a week for half price, so you are welcome to give it to someone here. Gift it as you will. And if anybody's already on a long-term package, I would recommend gifting it to someone in this chat just to be that type of person. And I will tell each and every one of you how you can claim that prize. But you did win, Walter, so you're welcome to give it to someone. Just like we did the other day when John gave somebody something. I don't remember who he gave it to. But I think he gave away a month pass. And give it to someone that doesn't already have a package. So while Walter's figuring out who he wants to give that to, it needs to be used today, because the reason is I've set up a private coupon code for it, Tommy, and it's going to expire at midnight. It's only a 1-day coupon code. I have not made it public. So what you actually have to do is to claim this prize, you need to send me an email, chase@chasewins.com. Give me your YouTube username. Tell me who you are. I will then give you that coupon code, and you can go on the website and use it. But after midnight, it's not going to work. Okay, so you're giving it to Alex. Alex, just send me an email. Let me know who you are. And I'll tell you the coupon code where you can go in and get it. And it will take a 1-week pass from 100 to 50 doll hairs. Matter of fact, I guess I need to pull up my email then, if I'm going to tell people to email me. Might help. Do, 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 do. Keith, possibly. Okay, so all right, so awesome. So Tommy's giving it to Sean. Sean, you email it. You email me, chase at chasewins.com. Tell me who you are. Um, and I will give you the coupon code that will work. So, guys, what you need to do is when I give you this coupon code, you go to the website, you just pick the normal 7-day pass. It's going to say $99. When you get to the payment screen, you'll see where you enter the coupon code, and then when you go to checkout, that coupon code will then take effect, and you'll see where it brought the price down to $50 instead of $100, and you're good to go. I did in the earlier show, James, when Google Chrome decided to fail. It was crazy. I mean, I don't like winning a game that way, but I'll take it. You know, we had two premium NFL games yesterday, both totals. One under, one of them was the over in the Falcons game, so we won both of those. We got shafted by John Gruden, was how we got shafted yesterday. In a game that should have been won by 3+ touchdowns, they got outright beat by a mustache wearing rookie. Okay. All right, Mr. Corey, I'm sending your email now. All right, Corey, you have been sent one. Alex, you have been sent one. Then Dana, feel free to give it to anyone in the chat that's not on one. What package are you on, Dana? I mean, if you're only on a 3-day pass, then I'd say, use it if you want to, but and I just printed something off of my printer. It is actually a skate around report that I need. So give me, Walter, run the chat for like 3 minutes. I need to run out of here, grab it off my printer, so that way I can finalize if I'm going to have this hockey play, because I need to get plays out here in just a couple of minutes. So, but I'm going to give another free play before we go. May even do another contest if you guys want to. So, Walter, run the chat for, like I said, 3 or 4 minutes. Let me go grab this paperwork, and I will be right back, and we'll finish everything up. Be right back. Don't play first halves, Terrence. I don't play first halves. I don't play first quarters, second quarters, second halves. I do full games only. Full game breakdowns. If I do totals, it's totals within full games. Okay, so I've got my skate around report now. It's pretty generic. So there may actually not be any NHL tonight because I just, these lines look pretty sharp. I don't see too much of an edge. Okay, let's see if anyone else has sent me an email real quick. Go ahead and knock that out. All right, let's do a free play. See which one of these I want to give you guys. Double check a line here, everybody, and see if anything has changed in the last hour. All right, North Dakota State minus 7.5. I like it over Montana State. Now here's the thing. Neither one of these teams is anything to write home about. When I look at my overall power rankings, ranking teams from 1 all the way to 353 out of all D1 teams through my system, North Dakota State ranks in the top 150, believe it or not. 147 to be exact. Montana State ranks all the way back at 283. If you look at just a percentage basis based on player to player, your guard, your forward, your center, and you take in the fact of home court. And neither one of these teams have a big home court presence, but if you look at North Dakota or North Dakota State, those schools have a very big following. And when it comes to their sporting programs, basketball or football, they really bring the crowd out. You got to think it's North Dakota. What else do you have to do anything? So it's like, hey, you know, if you can go catch a ball game, you will. North Dakota State and Montana State have actually had a fairly long history of being two schools that actually battle within recruiting, believe it or not. If you look at and trust me, they're not getting 5-star recruits, but in the recruiting trail that both of these schools take to sign players, to have enough people to take the court and make a full team, they actually cross paths quite a bit. That's where you're getting into this short line. 7.5. These teams are very familiar with each other. But if you take in home court, and we're not even going to give them 3. We'll give them 2 points in that sense. I still think North Dakota State is a 9-point better team. That's an 11-point spread. I think we're getting a gift at minus 7.5. And I'm going to lay it. Montana State's one of those teams that if they really did their homework and really scouted this team the right way, they could pull the outright upset on the road. But Montana State has no stamina. Look at any game they've played and look at how they drop off second half. North Dakota State's just a flat-out better team, and I think that they're one of those teams that have a lot of pride, and if they have a chance to put the game away, they will do so. It's not a premium play by any means, but I like North Dakota State minus 7.5. Cope's Picks gave up. I have no idea who that is. Am I supposed to know who that is? Any truth to the rumor that Arizona Diamondbacks are going to move to Vegas? I doubt it. I mean, if any team was going to move to Vegas, it would probably be them, but they've dumped a lot of money into that area. A lot of money into that area. A lot of money into that community. Chase Field is even though attendance isn't very high, their attendance and their fan base keeps growing. The fact that they just signed Bumgarner to a 5-year deal, I think they'll be around that area for a while. If anything, I would see Vegas getting a basketball team before they would get a baseball team. Problem is, I think it would take an extension for Vegas to get baseball. If any team in MLB would be considering a true move right now, it would be Tampa Bay. A YouTuber. Tubber? Not familiar. I'll tell you another game that's intriguing tonight. And I don't know why so many people think that they're just going to fall off. People aren't giving Texas Tech enough credit. I mean, 22 is a lot of points to lay, but Southern Miss? Here's the thing. I've got Texas ranked 20th overall in the nation in my power rankings. Southern Miss 268. This is a game that Texas Tech could easily win by 40 points. If they don't win this game by at least 25, then Texas Tech's got a lot more problems lying underneath the surface than we all realize. This should be a one-sided blowout. I mean, player for player, it's a complete mismatch. Complete mismatch. I don't know where the dog is. Screwing off somewhere around here. Chase, what's good? What I think on the NBA slot tonight? You think Bucks cover? I think the Bucks can cover. That's why I said I'm really intrigued to watch the game and to see how Dallas plays without their quote-unquote star player. Because they're playing really good as a team. And I think they can play well. I think they can make a game out of this. Do I think the Bucks are a better team than Dallas with or without their top guy? Absolutely. But in saying that, we've got to see how they do when you take him out of the mix and you have to play, not just play without him, but you're playing essentially your toughest competition it doesn't get much tougher than that. Having to play on the road against a team that just doesn't lose. I mean, everybody's talking about how hot the Lakers are. I think the Lakers wish they were as hot as the Bucks right now. The Bucks aren't just winning. Like, they're winning with purpose. I mean, they are absolutely dismantling teams from the inside out on a nightly basis. And if they're not dismantling a team, it's because they're trying to rest players for at least a small portion of time, or they're on a back-to-back, or they're on the road. I mean, and they're still figuring out ways to win games that potentially they should lose. I don't care how fishy it looks. I don't care how suspect it looks. I've already put money on Texas Tech. I've read through everything that I can possibly go over to find a reason to bet against Texas Tech or to find a true reason to lay off. I can't. Texas Tech, it'll be their fault they don't cover 22. Southern Miss doesn't have the ability to make a game out of it. It would be Texas Tech's doing if they didn't cover or if they even allowed Southern Miss to stay in the game. It's certainly not going to be the other way around. Let's see something here. Make sure that everybody's figuring out the coupon code. All right, we got 2 people there. All right, everybody that's got the coupon code for the 50% off the week who won the contest, make sure that you use it before midnight, because at midnight the coupon code will no longer work. Yesterday, I did a video late. It was my birthday yesterday. I'm not a birthday guy. I don't like getting gifts. I don't like attention like that. So I decided to take all of my long-term packages and make them 50% or more off. I know I did the video late, so a lot of people probably don't even realize that I did it. Anybody's interested in the long-term stuff with the big discounts, go jump on it. I left them up for another day. We will do a Christmas time special for something. Haven't decided exactly what yet, but that's just if you want to jump on it, by all means, go ahead. I put them in there to expire at midnight tonight instead of last night, just because of how late I did the video, and I know a lot of people wouldn't get the chance to see it or maybe watch it or something like that. So there it is. Merry Christmas. But see, the thing is that you would think, and that's what I'm saying, I tried to find every reason to take any logical thought to say that they don't cover, that they don't play well, that they allow Southern Miss to come back. But the problem is, a hangover from beating a top-ranked team, one of the best in the country, is one thing. And it's most certainly possible. It's good you bring that up. And if they were playing a team... And I'm not using this team as an actual reference. I'm just using it in reference to a talent level. Let's say they were playing like, I don't know, Wofford. Somebody like that. Somebody that they should be double-digit favorites. 12 to 18 points. Somewhere in that range. But a team that's a good shooting team. A team that is very much used to playing... top-level caliber opponents, big power conference opponents. That's where a hangover, I think, would really come into play, that you would really have to take a good long look at that and say, can a hangover affect it? Are they, can it affect it by 5 or more points? And that's where you look at either laying off or going against the favorite. But in this case, take a hangover into consideration. I think it's being considered in this line. I broke this game down 3 different ways, and I ranked it, and I came up with my own spread each one of those times. First time, it was Texas Tech laying 26.5. Second time, it was Texas Tech laying 28. Next time, it was Texas Tech laying 28 again. They opened up at 22.5. So I don't think that maybe the hangover factor wasn't taken into consideration like maybe it normally is. But I do think that they shaved a few points off of this opening line in case of a letdown. But it's such a mismatch within every single position. You got to think, Texas Tech, they rotate 9 players, 7 very regularly. Southern Miss only rotates 7 guys, and they have people that play a lot of minutes. Texas Tech won't lose. If they rotate their 9 guys tonight, which I'm almost certain that they will because of who they're playing. If they were playing a team like Louisville again, you would see their core 7 playing, and it would be their main starting 5 plus rotating 2 other players in and out. When you're playing a team like this that you completely overmatch is when you bring your 2 other guys into it. You're basically having 2 teams. You're 1 guy short of 2 teams that you can put on the court to make sure that you're putting fresh legs out there at all times. Not too many teams can say that. Texas Tech is one of those teams, and I think that they'll use every bit of it tonight, which makes me to believe they'll run the floor. They will wear Southern Miss out, and then they're just going to rotate all night, and they're just going to keep slowly but surely tacking on the lead. If they're up by 15 at the half, I don't see any reason why they can't win by 33 plus. Bet against Kentucky to cover against anybody. I don't think they have covered more than 2 games all year. No, they have. They've covered more than 2 games. They covered their first game. They covered 2 games in a row a couple of weeks ago, which we were on both of those. But Kentucky's they're always like that. Same with North Carolina. They always go through a stretch early in the year where they don't cover. They get beat. But there's a reason that they're still always in the mix at the end. Even though they're one and done, they have a great coach in Calipari, and they're filled with nothing but 5-star talent. All right. Walter, what do you see 5 dimes at for the Colts game tonight, total? Myron, I think they burned everybody on that game. It's just like Duke, Stephen F. Austin. I mean, it happens, though. It happens. It's college basketball for you. What we got to keep in mind, guys, is these are all still kids. They're all still kids. They're still trying to figure out their place in the world. I've got my free agent stat sheet here where I am ranking my free agents, ones that have not been signed, ones that have been signed. So you guys can kind of see everybody that I've got listed, what's been going on. Going into a lot of that talk went into a podcast episode that we recorded yesterday or late last night, I should say. So I'm excited for the relaunch of it. I am excited. So there's 2 podcasts coming out, guys. Outfielders Anonymous is coming back. So that is a 100% full baseball podcast. We've got our sponsors in order for the first half. Once I get Bill signed up, that'll be my final one. And then we've got a second one that's going to be strictly dedicated to sports investing. So we'll talk about multiple sports. We'll take questions, and on each podcast, we'll be giving a big look ahead game away. So, for instance, let's just say we had a podcast tonight. The big game that everybody's thinking about in the NBA is Giannis versus LeBron this coming week. We might give away a prediction on that looking ahead. That way, everybody's going to have time to listen to the podcast and get a prediction on a free play, for days ahead of time. Because obviously, with a podcast, it's hard to get a free play, record a full podcast, get it edited, posted. You get the idea. But I'm going to need your support on this one, guys. Support it so we can keep doing it. I'm going to bring guests on, people within the industry that I respect and I hold their opinion, in high regard, and they actually do know what they're doing. To give you even more information, we're going to be answering a lot of questions during the podcast live. And I'll show you how we're going to be doing all that. But what I need from you guys is I'm actually going to be going into the studio tonight to record another podcast, Outfielders Anonymous wise. Send me emails, guys. Let me know, is there a certain topic you want me to talk about, a certain player, a certain team? Just give me something specific. And, as long as it's relevant, like I'm not going to sit there and talk about what my thoughts are on the David Justice trade from 1997 or whatever it was when he was traded from the Braves to the Indians, but something relevant, and we'll talk about it. And if you prefer, you can say yes or no in the email. Give me your Twitter handle, Instagram name, whatever. I'll shout you out on social media, and I'll start building up your following too. So that way, if you promote your business or whatever it is you do on social media, we can help you there that way. Help me help you. So it will be. So that's what I'm saying. Like, James, that's gonna be a very, very good game, and I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be more of a spectacle than anything, but what in the NBA isn't? Myron says, I am biased, diehard Laker, but I think Lakers treat it like a playoff game. I think they make a statement, the West is just way better than the East, and they are best in the West. Okay. I'm going to give a response to this. I think that you are right in saying that they will treat it like a playoff game. For whatever the reason may be, LeBron has treated every game like a playoff game this year, which I don't think too many people expected. I thought he was going to come into the season and try to make a statement for, obviously, the bad season last year. But let's face it, LeBron didn't necessarily have a bad season. I guess it was off compared to years past. But I think he knew they had no shot, and he wasn't going to go out there and risk the longevity of what he had left in his career for a year that was just not worth it. Now that he got AD, now that they're starting to gel a little bit better, now that I think everyone within the Lakers organization realizes how LeBron works, which he's going to be the coach, the GM, and the star player, you see the turnaround that the Lakers have had. So he's treated every game like a playoff game. So you're absolutely right about that. Do I think they're the best team in the West? Absolutely. Do I think they'll end up as the best team in the West? I don't know. I think the Clippers can definitely give them a run. I think that it's going to be the leadership of AD and LeBron. The mental part of it is what's going to outweigh any talent that can catch them. Because if you think about it, if there's a team in the West that could catch the Lakers and could give them a run in the postseason to take the West title and go to the finals, I truthfully believe that's the Clippers. But when you look at the Clippers versus the Lakers in just veteran leadership mentality, your basketball IQ, nobody's going to outdo AD and LeBron as a duo. So that's number one. Now, do I think the West is better than the East? I don't know that I do. I think you have more well-rounded teams in the East. Now, there's a lot of struggling teams in the East that have talent for days that just haven't figured it out yet. But I think that if every team in basketball was playing to their full potential right now, I think the East would be a bigger talk than the West. And I think that it would be by a good margin, too. Yeah, Ron, I read that yesterday, man. I've actually met him before. He's big in that part of the world. He was a big, big part of that community. I'm also biased, but Clippers are the better team, and they will prove themselves again on Christmas Day. See, that's my thing, though. I mean, do I think that the Clippers could catch them? Yeah. I don't think in the long run they will, though. Plus, guess what? We don't know what may happen come a trade deadline, guys. You got to keep in mind, with LeBron on that team making statements like it is, and an organization that's not scared to write checks, we could be seeing something big come the trade deadline. What high school? T.L. Hanna, right? I'll have to make room in my Joe Rogan Experience podcast rotation for you. You're gonna cut back on free play live YouTube vids. Oh no, Chad, I'm gonna still keep doing that as normal. What it's gonna be is in the off season, one podcast a week. Baseball wise, during the season, it's probably going to be twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week when we go on site and do a live interview with someone. That'll be weeks where we throw in an extra one. So you're probably looking at about 2 hours of podcasting a week, plus doing one big podcast involving just sports betting in general. But that'll be a longer podcast, something that's probably 2 hours plus, and it'll happen once a week. Yeah, I played travel ball on an all-star team with a kid that went to T.L. Hanna. This was back in 2003. And I can't for the life of me remember this kid's name. Oh well. I remember he was kind of a pain in the ass. Kept bragging about how he's going to go to Clemson, play baseball. Jack Leggett. Jack Leggett. Oh, my God. Yeah, he did not. I think he ended up going to Francis Marion. Or no, North Greenville University. I think at that time it was North Greenville College. And I think he got cut from that team. That'd be cool just so nobody would have to travel. Conference finals, everything being at the Staples Center. That'd be nice for both teams. Nobody can complain about traveling. Nobody can complain about rest factor. You just have one night where the floor looks different than the other. And certain season ticket holders get in while others don't. Alright, let's check my email one more time. Make sure that nobody's having an issue using that coupon code. Alright, guys. Let's look at something here for just a second before I call it a day. This is a skate around report that I was reading. And this is the game that I'm going to give this away for free to you guys since you're here chilling with me. Give me just 1 second. Let me look at an accurate line to make sure that nothing major has changed. Make sure that it's still within a number that I'm willing to lay. I don't love the game, but I'm gonna take it. And it's again, this is one of those games that I desperately tried to find a reason not to play it. Because it's a team that it's a good team. It's a trustworthy team. It's not a bad road team. But right now they're a little bit iffy. Right now they're a little bit unpredictable, a little bit unreliable. But I've got to go with the Capitals tonight, minus 160 on the road against the Blue Jackets. If you look at their front core, the way that they zone out, and you look at defensively and offensively, they hold an advantage with the four key players that Washington thrives with. You look at the four that Columbus thrives with, each one of them is at a fairly significant disadvantage to what Washington brings on the ice every night. Look at pace of play, look at what they do within power plays, look at penalty minutes, and look at how each team capitalizes versus not capitalizing. And I just don't see a justified reason to take a home dog in Columbus. And there's no significant injuries that stand out based on who can be rotated. The goalie advantage is with Washington again tonight, and I'm taking them. It's a lean at best. It's not a premium play by any means, but I'm gonna lay fun money with Washington on the road. It's not quite a premium play, but it's something that I am gonna have a little fun with. That's my max. I'm not going to lay any higher than that. I see 155 out there. I'm going to shop that line, see if I can get it under that 160. But either way, lean at best, but I figured I'd let you guys know that I am playing it. It's worth something, right? See, that's not a bad bet. Took regulation minus 110. But the thing is, the reason I'm not going to take regs with it is because I'm not going to have to lay over that 155, 160. If we got any higher than that, I'd have to look at a regulation or a puck line play. But being that I can get it at 160 or below, I don't mind being able to throw an overtime into the mix, because if it comes into an overtime, we know the advantage with Washington, and if it were to come into a shootout, it's completely lopsided at that point. With Kluber gone, are the Indians about to take a step back? I don't think so. I mean, you got to think, look at what they did last year, and he only made, 7 starts? Mike Mueller, send me an email. The thing about the Indians that I think people need to realize is I see a lot of Indian fans now going, oh, the organization doesn't care, they don't do this. I'll be honest with you. I think the Indians got the better of the deal there, and they still have Francisco Lindor. This is what I think is getting ready to happen with the Indians. They're getting ready to reevaluate this with what they just got. And with the fact they still have control of Lindor, they either are going to have to spend a little more money, make a trade, go for it again, because we know that they're still probably going to be in the mix for a division championship with the Twins. But I'm telling you right now, if they don't think that they can do it, if they don't think that they can not only win the AL Central, but make a postseason run, you're going to see Francisco Lindor leave. And the thing is, I know Cleveland's going to say, what the hell, why would you do that to the city? Why would you do that? Francisco Lindor is not going to sign a free agent contract with Cleveland. He's just not. I'm sorry, Cleveland's not going to spend the money that it's going to take to surround Lindor with other future Hall of Fame talent. And the problem is, when it comes down to free agency, Lindor's going to want to go somewhere where he can win. And I think that Cleveland's walking a fine line to being 2 to 3 years away from rebuild again, which isn't a bad thing for them. Cleveland is a team that rebuilds in a good way. They usually do it quick. They usually do it on a fairly tight budget, and they're usually successful for longer than most teams are after a rebuild. Most teams get 5 years of above 500 ball, 3 years of what you would consider franchise success, 2 years where they could actually be competitive. The problem is, if they don't think they can make a run, they're going to let Lindor go a lot earlier, because the quicker they get rid of Lindor, the more they can get for him and the more he's worth, which on the back end is going to benefit Cleveland more. So they're not doing it to hurt anybody. They've got to look out for the best interest of the long-term goal. Lindor's not going to play forever, so they're not going to worry about what Lindor's doing forever. And I think Francisco Lindor's one of the best players in baseball. I like the Royals, but new owners, you never know. White Sox are up-and-coming team. I've been telling people for the last 2 years, video after video after video, that the White Sox were spending the money the best way. They were the team to watch out for. Nobody believed me last year, and they already started to make strides. I told people. I had 150 emails in a month's time last year, people going, should have listened to you about the White Sox, because we are getting burned week in and week out by fading them at the wrong times. Kansas City, screw the ownership. They got Mike Matheny, former St. Louis manager. He is going to be great for that team. You watch. It's going to take him a couple of years. They're going to have to keep some pieces in place. Their player development is going a lot better than most people realize under wraps. They're going to need to spend a little money, but it wasn't time to do it this year. They need to let Matheny get in his role, evaluate, and help out. And let me tell you something. The Kansas City Royals, you watch, between Kansas City, Cleveland, and the White Sox next year, those will be your three hot topics, potentially along with Anaheim and the Cubs, after they're going to have to do something, regarding Lester, what they're going to do to hopefully extend Javier Baez to a 500-year contract, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, so on and so forth. Cubs, Cleveland, Kansas City, and the Chicago White Sox, they will be the talk of the 2020 winter meetings. Mark my words. If Dodgers get 2 more quality pitchers, no one's touching them. Nobody should be touching them anyway. They don't need 2 more quality pitchers. They need 1 more power pitcher. They have enough quality pitchers. They need 1 more person that pitches for power. And on top of that, they need to not let Clayton Kershaw pitch in the postseason. I'm sorry. Clayton Kershaw, I love him. I think he's a great guy. I think that he's probably one of the best human beings in baseball. And I think he's a fantastic pitcher. Postseason, let's just face it. He fucking sucks in the postseason. And besides Joe Madden, even giving him a run, Dave Roberts is one of the best managers of our time. I will tell you one MLB team to fade is Brewers. They lost some big sticks. And Grandal. I don't know about that, James. Brewers aren't a team to fade just yet. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people that want to play with Christian Yelich. The Brewers player development is one of the top 5 in baseball. Their AAA is one of the top 3 AAA programs in baseball. And I'm telling you right now, the Brewers are going to make a big trade at the trade deadline. And the pieces that they gave up aren't as big as most people think. Byron, I don't play stuff like that. I play full matchups, full games, full totals. I don't do any first halves, first quarters. I don't do any team totals, anything like that. I play... my job is to actually break down the game at hand and make an educated investment and prediction that way. I don't mean that wrong. I'm just being upfront and honest with you. I don't know, Ron. See, Whit Merrifield's actually a very good friend of mine. Somebody that I actually played with growing up. And Whit is one of the best hitters in baseball. And I really hope he goes to Chicago. I think Theo's going to make a run for him. I really do. And I hope he does. If he doesn't go somewhere like that, then yeah, I think he'd want to stay in KC. Truth be told. because I think he's built a name for himself there. But if he gets an opportunity to go with a big long-term, big money free agent contract, or even non-free agent contract for somewhere where he could go and have a chance to win and win now. I mean, because you got to think, Kansas City wins it in 2015. Great, fantastic. That's all well and good. But the problem is Whit Merrifield was essentially a nobody in the majors at that point. He is the face of that franchise, and he's going to be one of the key pieces to any rotation, no matter where he goes. So I think that unless given the opportunity to win and win fast, his agent's going to get him a contract somewhere like L.A., Chicago, or I hate to say it, Whit may end up in Philly. All right, guys. I got to sign off. I got to get plays up and out of here in the next 20 minutes. So we'll be back. We'll do this again tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be normal time, right around 10 a.m. People that won, make sure you use a coupon code before midnight. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I will answer them the second that I get done getting these plays posted here in just a few minutes. So, Kevin, yes, I've got at least one NBA game that I'm putting out. I'm going to look into a later game as well, but one's getting ready to get posted here in just a second. So everyone will get the email when the plays are posted. They'll be up within the next 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll go on and we'll have a good night. If you got any questions, guys, let me know. I will be back for another live show. Get your questions ready. Send me emails if you got anything, and we'll go live around 10 a.m., 10 to 10:30. In the morning, we'll hammer it out and possibly looking at a big game for tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. See you guys. Hope you have a good night.